Hello YouTube, it's Tempest CFV. I'm here with another Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for you guys. It's kind of an update to my Fire King deck profile that I posted a couple weeks ago. Um, so after playing through the deck a little bit and looking up some builds that I saw, um, there's one build in particular that topped a regional event. I think hit top 16, if not top 8. So I didn't copy the build card for card, but I looked at a lot of the things that he was using and I kind of took them into consideration when putting the deck back together. So, without further ado, here is my new and improved Fire King deck. I'm not really going to explain what these cards do, or the deck itself at all, really. So, if you need to see anything or have any questions, please feel free to look at my previous video that I posted a while ago. It's on my channel. Alright, so starting with your monsters, there's only 15 monsters. You have your 3 Garunics. He's your boss monster. You need to play 3 of them. I feel like you can probably get away with 2, but 3 is just so good because what you want to be doing as your win condition is looping his effects together every turn so that you can consistently have him on the board every turn and be wiping the field. So I like to play 3 so that way you have the highest possibility of getting 2 of them in the game, and having them in your hand isn't actually that terrible because Yaksha can destroy it from hand. So yeah. You get your 3 Barongs. They're your searchers, so you kind of need to play 3. They let you search for the onslaught to let you go, like, jump way ahead in your game plan. And they also let you search any Fire King monster that you might need. So you kind of need to play 3 of this as well. And then, of course, 3 Yaksha. You basically need 3 very Fire King monster, except for maybe Garunix. Yaksha lets you destroy a card on your field or in your hand when he's sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, either by battle or by a card effect. So that's really good. Also, he and Baron can be special summoned from your hand when you destroy the cards. Blah blah blah. It's whatever. You know, decent effect. But like basically, you play him so you can pop a Garunix you control already to keep the pluses happening on your next turn or whatever. Or like destroy a Garunix you have in hand and get that Garunix at the next standby phase. So yeah, I feel like 3 is necessary. And then the next engine we have is a Flamvell engine. Ideally, I'd be playing Wolfbarks, but those cards are freaking expensive. And I don't really have that kind of a budget for 3 Wolfbarks. So instead, I'm playing 2 Fire Dogs and a Magician. The cool thing about the Fire King level 4 monsters is they all have 200 defense and they're all fire monsters. So you can use Flamvell Fire Dog to swing at an opponent's monster. And if you kill it, you can summon a monster with 200 or less defense from your deck. So that gets you a free 1800 beat stick if you get Yaksha or Barong. Or you can also use it to get Flamvell Magician, which is only 1400, but he's a level 4 tuner. So basically with this card you can get another Beast Warrior, make an Xyz play, or go Magician to get a tuner and then swing and make a Synchro play. Ideally you'd be playing 3 Wolfbarks like I said. I would probably cut the Magician and 1 or 2 of the Fire, 1 or 2, maybe 0 or 1. I'm still not sure. I like 2 Fire Dog because it's decent, but it's also a really good floater. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is like he's good as like a floater, but he's not really the core of the deck. And the Synchro plays aren't that really necessary. So I would play Wolfbarks if you have them. If not, you know, the Flammable Engine's definitely a good way to go. And then the last cards are just generic stuff for Beast Warriors. You got your 2 bears. Of course, you're playing tanky in here because everything in here is a Beast Warrior except for the Flamvell stuff. And if you're playing Wolfbarks, that's a Beast Warrior, so that's got that going for it. Really necessary, I feel like, to play 2. 3 is kind of a lot. Some people play 3, but the thing is, this deck is kind of tight on space, so I can only really fit in 2. You might even want to play 1 bear, 1 gorilla if you need to. Up to you. I like 2 bear because it's really good for searching, and that's basically why he's in here, is just to get their tankies. And the last card is 1 blaster. Basically, you ditch him, ditch another fire monster, pop a card on the field. It can be a card you control, or it can be a card your opponent controls. So you can use him to pitch like something with 200 defense if you have like a Rekindling in your hand. And that lets you pop a Garunix you control, or it lets you destroy a card your opponent controls. That's really good. He's also 28 beat stick, and you can banish 2 fires to special summon him from hand or grave. So he's really good for helping you push. So he's just a really good card in general. to have in this deck, I feel. Alright, so yeah, 15 monsters. I think there's 17 spells. Maybe... No, not 17 spells. Holy crap. No, that's not near that many. There's 15 spells. Okay. But there's a lot of spells in this deck, so I'm just going to get into it. You got your 3 Onslaught. When your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you summon Garunix, basically. You can summon any fire beast warrior or winged beast monster, but ideally you want to summon Garunix because the monster that's summoned by this gets destroyed at the end phase. And of course Garunix blows up the field when he comes back after he's been destroyed, so he's, gets really good. 2 circle. I dropped this down to 2. The regional build that I looked up was only running 2, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out why. But then I realized that he was also running 1 Lance and double Generation Force. When you usually play this deck, you don't need both Lance and Generation Force. They're both chainable cards. They both let you stop your monsters from being destroyed or extend the plays you can make, either or. But basically, I think what his logic was, Generation Force lets you destroy a card you control, and then add a same copy of that card from your deck to your hand. And Circle lets you destroy a card you control and special summon another fire monster from your graveyard. So I think his logic was playing 2 of each, in case you so you get them in the same ratio basically. And the other thing is this card is searchable by your Barong, so if you need it, you can get it. If not, then you just can draw into it, or you can just not play it, because normally you don't need it that much. I just played 3 in my last build for consistency, but in this build, I don't think it's as needed, because you do a lot more. It's a lot more defensive in terms of its spells and traps. So you could probably play 3 circle. I wouldn't play any less than 2 though. It's really good. And then you got your 3 tankies to help you search for your bears, your barongs, and your yakshas. Yaksha in particular is really good in this deck. The 1 Tensu is a random tech. I always like to play these 4 cards when I play 2 bear, because you'll have that offhand chance where either you'll have a bear and you'll run out of tankies, or you'll have to set a Tensu instead, which is still good. I also play Tiger King in my extra deck, so having Tiger King to set the Tensu helped me extend my plays. It's pretty good. So, and there's also lots more you can do with it. Like if you have a Barong and a Yaksha in hand, you can summon a Yaksha, and then use this to summon a Barong or a bear, and then make a Xyz play, detach it, and then you're all set up for Wolfbark or Rekindling, what have you. Speaking of Rekindling, I'm playing 2. This lets you special summon as many fire monsters from your graveyard with 200 defense exactly. Like I said, all the Fire Kings are 200 defense. Your Flamvels are all 200 defense. So this gets you basically any level 4s you want from your graveyard. If you're playing the Wolfbarks, like I'm suggesting, I would say you want to cut one of these, and you want to cut one of the Magician, like I said. So at least those 2 cards, and maybe a Fire Dog if you want to play 3 Wolfbark, because this card is not searchable. It's a great 1 of or 2 of, but 3 of it gets really cloggy. Even with 2, I'm finding that it clogs. Because you want to be able to summon at least 3 cards off of this if you can. But the thing is, like the Wolfbark lets you summon another Beast Warrior from grave when you summon. So it's basically the same thing as this. Like if you're playing Wolfbark, like if you're playing this card, more than likely you'll only be able to get 2 or 3 pluses off it. When you're playing Wolfbark, you're just gonna get a +1 anyway, so it's gonna have the same effect. And Wolfbark is a lot more generic in this deck since you can also target bears and stuff. So yeah. Rekindling is still very good though. If you're playing a Flammable Engine, you can't not play this card. It's just so good. And then last we got your staples. 1 Book of Moon. I feel like this card is really necessary to stop your opponent's Synchro and Xyz plays. 3 MSTs for back row hate. You can side these out against decks like Mermail or Dragons that don't play as much. But 3 is really good considering the top decks are all like machines and I'm sorry. Pardon my language. My brain messed up my. Anyway, yeah, Fire Fists. Any fire deck, any Beast Warrior deck tends to run a lot of back row, so 3 MST is really important. Also let you set up your plays for your Garunix. And the last card is Darkhole. It just destroys all monsters on the field. Yours included, so normally it's not a bad thing to destroy your own monsters. If you have a Yaksha, you can destroy a Garunix in hand or something, so not terrible. I'm not playing any draw power. No card cards, no dualities. Basically because when you summon Garunix during the standby phase off his own effect, you can't use the card cards of the dualities. So in all my other decks, I'm finding that I really like those cards in particular because they help you fuel your cards, your pluses or whatever. If you wanted to be like Patrick Hoban and run triple upstart, triple upstart, triple reckless greed, you can do that. His deck doesn't really suffer from your opponent gaining life points or from skipping your draw phase, because as long as you have a way, once you have those two Garunics looping each other together, you can skip as many draw phases as you want, because you'll just have a consistent 27 beat stick on the board that can swing directly. So, I don't have space for it right now. I think that the traps are too necessary, so I also don't have Reckless Greeds. So, anyway, traps. Double Generation Force. I already explained this card. I'm not playing Lances because of this card. If your monster will be destroyed, you can basically just activate this instead of having a Lance and then destroy the monster and add another copy of it to your hand. It's whatever. Everything in this deck is a 2 of except for Magician, so basically anything that gets popped is just whatever comes back. Oh, I guess Blaster's a 1 up too, but you're not going to target Blaster. Double Fiendish. It's important. Negates effects, negates attacks. It stops your opponent from doing stuff. It's kind of important. I'm maining these now from now on. I was siding them, but it's just like too important not to play because Fire Fists are huge. Bujins are not huge, but they're a threat to me. I hate that deck so much. Doesn't really hurt Mermail that much. You can stop their Pike or their Teus potentially, but that's about it. And you could just decide these out for Veilers against Mermail because they're just going to pop your shit anyway. And then the last cards we have the 5 staples. 1 Mirror Force. This card's at 2, but I only have space for 1. The other one's sided in this particular deck, so you could probably get away with 1. It's better than Deep Prison at 1, especially because it's a mass removal card instead of spot removal. Compulse, because it's Compulse, Bottomless, Torrential, and Solemn Judgment, which is a proxy for Solemn Warning, because I only have 1 Warning in it in my other deck. So those 3 cards, Bottomless, Torrential, Warning, are all mandatory in this format, because they stop summons. Alright, I hope this video isn't running too long. Let's see what the timer is at. Oh, it's alright, 11 minutes. Alright, I'll try to speed this up then, because the extra deck and side deck are really self-explanatory. You got 1 Tiger King. When you overlay 2 exceeds Beast Warriors, and then you just search 1 spell or trap with Fire Formation in its name, and that's really good. Helps you go with tanky and go off. Kakasuchi, I explained this card in my last video. This card is fucking good. It's a Mace Stroke. And it lets you mill 5 when it's summoned. So it lets you go, like if you have a Rekindling in hand, you can just make this guy mill 5, and after he's done with his exclusive materials, you go Rekindling and possibly get a +3 or +4 off that. It's also really good with Wolfbark if you can play Wolfbark. So I wanted Direwolf because he's kind of a staple in these decks. I finally got one. I'm really happy about that. You can even use him to pop your own Garunix if you really want to. He has to destroy a Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast type monster you control on one of the cards on the field. So yeah, he's really good for fueling your plays because it lets you destroy any Fire King monster you control and then pop a card on the field. So really good. I feel like you have to play him if you want to in this deck. He's really good. Black Ship, because it's Black Ship, it's really good. It lets you pop a card and your opponent takes 1,000. Cowboy, obvious. If you push for game but they stop you and they have less than 800, you win because you can just make this guy with 2 level 4s and detach 1 pop. Utopia, because Utopia, I don't have anything better really. It's 25 beat stick, whatever. Pep Operative, again, nothing much better. There's tons of better rank 4s out there that I just don't have. There's Emerald, there's Lavalval Chain, there's Excite Knight, there's Shark Knight, there's, you know, other stuff you can play. But these are still really good staples. Pep Operative is particularly good against Geargia, which is why I play it, because Geargia are really popular where I live. Mace Stroke, again, it's Mace Stroke, it's pretty standard. Roach, because I don't have Excite Knight, and it's not terrible if you go up against a deck that summons huge shit, like any deck that synchro summons. So, Gemini Pearl for getting over big stuff. That's basically why he's in here. That's it. Number 58, Crazy Box. He's a 3K beater that can't attack, and he's a dark. So you play him because of Eradicator or Epidemic Virus against spellbooks. So that's why he's in here. During your turn, you can roll a die. I mean, if you don't already know what this card does, it's basically an Eradicator target, but its other effect is pretty good too. 1 Chimera Tech. Cybers and machines like Karakuri, Geargia, even like Machina gadgets and stuff like that, they're all really popular in my area, so I'm of course siding 2 Cyber Dragons, and this card is amazing at Cybers in general, and Cybers are really good. Like their grind game is just about as good as this deck because they can just play Repair Plant and then play Cybernetic Factory Network, whatever the trap card is, and just banish their Drays and protect all the monsters they have. So this card really slows them down. And when their trap card actually does go off and they summon everything, this card's like a nope, fuck you to them because they just summon. You just summon a Cyber Dragon, or you can use this and steal all their monsters. It's so troll. and it's also a dark. So if you have Eradicator, if for some reason you can make this, I mean, I guess you could do that. I don't know why you would do that, but you could. And then the last 3 cards are Synchros. Since I'm playing Magician and I don't have enough rank 4s, I'm playing level 8 Synchros. For playing Wolfbark, like I said, cut the Magicians altogether, cut the Synchros altogether, play rank 4s. Play the Godly rank 4s I mentioned earlier, they're really good. Stardust Dragon. This is the one Synchro you might want to keep in any deck, because, well actually, I lie. Not Stardust Dragon. Stardust Spark Dragon, especially in this deck, because when your cards would be destroyed, you can use Stardust Spark to prevent one of them from being destroyed. So you can go Garunix play, destroy Garunix, and then when Garunix comes back, if you have Stardust Spark on the board, you can prevent Stardust Spark from being destroyed. You can prevent another monster from being destroyed from Garunix, so that's really good. Stardust Dragon, not as good as Stardust Spark right now. Scrap Dragon, he's in here for the same reason that Direwolf is, for destroying your cards, destroying your other opponent's cards. It tends to be really good if you can make it, but like I said, if you have a better Exceed, you might as well play a second Direwolf, because it's going to be easier to make. And last card is Crimson Blader because of that random dragon match you come up against, or that random deck that Synchro summons a lot. He's good against a whole bunch of different rogue decks, which is why I like him. Side deck is self-explanatory right now. Double Sidra because of machines and because I have Chimera Tech. He's also a good beat stick if you can play him. Double Veiler for any deck that has effects, Mermail in particular, but there's a whole bunch of other decks. Double Maxi for any deck of special summons, particularly Mermail, dragons, what have you. 1 Eradicator of Prophecy, 1 Transmigration Prophecy for usually Boojins, but you can also use this against some decks that like the Dragon deck to return cards from the deck. The second Mirror Force, just random. If your opponent has a Swarm deck like a Mermail or I don't know something silly, you can just extra removal in case to try and stop their OTKs. Double Mind Crush for anything that searches, particularly Firefist and Mermail. Double Dust Tornado for anything that sets heavy back row. It doesn't usually affect your gameplay, but being able to just set this and then use it as MST bait, and then just chaining and then setting whatever you want from your hand to prevent your opponent from destroying it, it's pretty good. I don't mean it, but it's a decent side deck choice, especially against decks that have like so much back row, like Gravekeepers, for example, which are really good against this deck. And then double Iron Wall. This is mainly for the dragon matchup. Dragons aren't huge anymore, but it's still important. And also against Boojin. So just the double Iron Wall is just kind of a random thing. Alright, yeah, so sorry that video ran so long. I was trying to cut it short, but I guess I got kind of caught up in other choices you could use. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you made it to the end, if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up on my channel. Check out my channel for more, and if you want to have any questions or comments or suggestions, please be sure to comment below. Thank you for watching.